Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bear Share Show. This is your host, Andre Matoyer, and I am back from my short hiatus. I have been super busy with life and work, all good things, but I just needed a little bit of time to sort through that, and now I am back to record some more episodes. Over the past few months, though, taking the time to reflect and talking with friends, there have been a few things that have been on my mind, and there is this idea that keeps popping up that I have been learning and that I have been working better to remind myself to do every day. And this particular topic is what has inspired me to record this particular episode. So, for this particular episode, it is called Maintaining Your Own Lane. And this has to do with the idea of focus. So when you're driving a car, right, you have multiple windows in your car. You've got your front window, you got your rear, back windshield. But for the most part, good safe driving requires you to focus on what's in front of you, right? And what's in front of you is going to be what you're working on right now, your present, and eventually your future. While you're driving, it's good practice sometimes to occasionally look behind you so you can see, if someone's tailgating you or if someone's following you, if they should be. But for the most part, you should be looking at the window in front of you and paying attention to the road ahead. Because if you're not, you can kill someone, you can get into a car accident, you can miss your exit. There's all sorts of things that can happen that you don't want to. And when we're driving, we all know that, right? Like anyone who's driven a car knows you primarily look out in front of you. But ironically, when it comes to our life, we don't typically do this as much as we think we do. And that is because we are often inundated with a lot of distractions, a lot of competing ideologies, a lot of confusion as to who we are and to what we are and to what we like and to what we need to be doing. And I don't think a lot of us have had too much time to sit there and think about what it is that we're doing because we're constantly always on autopilot. But over the last 3 months, I've had the fortunate opportunity to reflect a bit more. And it came about because I realized that I was starting to resort to some old thoughts and to some old behaviors from a few years ago when I was starting to compare myself to other people and to start getting frustrated or depressed or jealous of what other people may have versus what I have. And that may sound ridiculous because I've actually honestly had a pretty good year in 2021. But nevertheless, it happened. And when that happens, I realized, okay, like this isn't me. These aren't emotions that I like to have pop up. I'm human. I'm going to have emotions, but I don't like to have these ones pop up. So why am I having those emotions and what can I do to better work through it? And what I realized is that when I am driving, I usually set a direction or an address from my GPS, and I know exactly where I'm going, follow the GPS until I get to my destination. And that's what a lot of us do, right? Keeps us focused, keeps us following the rules, the direction, so that we don't get lost. In life, when I feel oftentimes that I'm insecure or that I'm anxious or that I'm unsure, it's because I don't know where I'm headed. I don't know my goals. I don't know necessarily what my priorities are or what they should be. And so seeing other people accomplish their goals or seeing other people do things, I often will start to go, oh, that looks cool, and maybe I'll try this, or maybe I'll try that. And then I'll get overwhelmed with all these choices and possible directions instead of thinking about what I really want and putting in my own direction so I can focus forward on my own goals. And so that's essentially what I have been working on. And you know, being inundated with all the distractions we get from social media, from friends, family, all of that other stuff, it's very easy to get persuaded or to venture off the path that you're on. And then if you're anything like me, you might feel guilty or frustrated for doing that. But just remember that we're human. So here are my tips and how I've worked through it. And this is something that I've recommended some friends, and we've talked about it. But first is, take a minute and really think about what you want and really think about where you want to go. For example, I noticed recently that I was getting jealous because certain people had maybe a better body, or certain people, I had a friend of mine come across a lot of money from a windfall, and I was really happy for him. However, it made me go, okay, well, how are my finances compared to this person? And when I am jealous like that, instead of feeling jealous or feeling frustrated or being down on myself, I instead use that to go, okay, like, why is this bothering me? Well, it's bothering me because I wish I had that. Well, okay, instead of being a bad friend and being upset or jealous, maybe what I should do instead is just take note of that insecurity and see how I can start applying it to myself and improve upon that particular focus. Um, it may require a change in your current behaviors or patterns or routine, but what I've noticed is when I focus on those areas and not focus on everyone else so much, when I'm focusing on my own lane, I'm less likely to get bogged down and insecure by those around me. A great example is this. So, a friend of mine was down in the dumps, and we went out to dinner one day, and he pointed a picture on the phone. He's like, "Man, like this dude lost a bunch of weight, and I've been trying, and I, really haven't been successful." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what? Why are you upset about this person? Like, what did he do to you?" "Well, nothing. I just wish that that was me," is what he said. And I'm like, "Well, okay. First, are you friends? Yeah. Okay. So be happy for your friend, right? They put in the work. They did well. You should feel good for them. They're not posting on social media to make you feel bad. They're posting to celebrate their victories, right?" But what I told them and what has worked for me is, well, obviously, I said your body is an issue. So why don't you start working on ways that you can improve that? Or, let's do this together. Let's maybe go for a walk. So when we are focused on our own ways and baby steps to achieve our own goals, he noticed and we noticed together that we were less likely to feel insecure, jealous, or upset when it comes to other people and their accomplishments. And that's because we're tuning out all the bullshit around us and we're just focusing on what we can control and what we can do. So, my advice is when it comes to managing your goals, don't worry so much about comparing yourself to other people. Don't worry so much about what you may not have versus what someone else may have. Focus on what you really want. Take a moment and reflect and really listen to yourself. I think if you tune out everything and you really, really listen, I think you really do know what you want. Maybe it is to end a relationship. Maybe it is to start a new relationship. Maybe it's to move. Maybe it's to save more money. Maybe it's to lose or gain more weight. Whatever it is that you want to do, I think if you really want to do it, start doing it. And don't worry about the past, right? Like when you're driving a car, occasionally look back in the window. You've already passed that. You're not going back to that part. You're moving on the road. You're moving forward. So you don't need to revisit that particular part anymore. Let that go. Keep driving on and focus on your own goals, because sooner or later, the past and that negative point or those times where you felt bad or shame will be long in your rearview mirror because you'll be further on in your goal. Someone said this to me and I really, really liked it. He was saying that he really wanted to go back to school and was worried that he might be too old to go back to school because he was like in his 50s. And I was like, all right, well, what do you want to do? I want to go be a nurse. I'm like, okay. So he decided he wanted to go to nursing school. Great. Well, someone who is 50 going back to school, that might be like, well, why are you doing that? That seems like a lot of work. Well, the average lifespan is someone in their mid 70s. So He's in his early 50s. So if he finishes in the next few years, he might be able to have at least 10, 15 years as a nurse. And that's a whole other career that he gets to enjoy for a decently, good amount of time. So why not, right? So if he finishes his degree, let's say it takes him 4 years to finish that degree, and right now it's 2021. So let's say he finishes at 2025. Well, no matter what, 4 years from now is 2025. So he can either not do it, what he wants, and feel frustrated or insecure when other people are getting degrees and he's still working the same job, or he could do what he wants, and in 2025 he'll be where he's at. I think often we're so scared to do our goals because we're so afraid of what people may think. Humans, we're social creatures. It is in our DNA to fit in, because if we don't fit in, then our ancient ancestors might not be able to survive if they don't have a tribe to help them hunt and protect them. Well, same thing, even though it's that thousands of years later, we are social creatures. We want to be belonged. So we are afraid to take risks and do things that may make other people not like us and shunned. So we maybe will sacrifice our wants and needs and desires for what we think others may want from us. But I just say instead, if you haven't realized that life is fleeting over the last couple of years, I would just say life is short. Don't let fear control your life, and stop worrying about everyone else. Focus on what you want, stay on your lane, and move forward. I think over the last next few weeks, as we close out 2021, as of this recording, it's Thanksgiving weekend, I really took stock of everything that I'm grateful for and let go of maybe things that aren't quite perfect. Maybe I'm not at my goal weight yet. Maybe I don't have, a huge amount of savings yet. That's okay. I've got a whole other year coming up in front of me. I know what it is that I want to do. So I'm going to work on trying to achieve that and not let whatever happened in the past, good or bad, hold me back. I'm not going to let a picture of someone else's accomplishments or lack thereof hold me back or make me feel insecure. That's all fine and dandy. That's you looking at the other windows that aren't helpful while you're driving. Instead, pick a direction that you want and just do it. And that's the hard part. But I noticed that when you focus really well, you're able to get those goals. Final story, I had a friend of mine who did that last year. He really, really wanted to work out and lose a lot of the weight that he gained in 2020, I believe, with COVID, like 2019 and 20, so before and after COVID, and spent 2021 really, really working out at it and really, really pushing himself. But he felt better and his life felt better because he was doing what he wanted. And that's the point. He wasn't letting other people tell him what not to do or what to do. He wasn't letting distractions bother him. He was doing what he felt was right, and not because anyone else or anything else told him to do otherwise. So in the end, I just want to say, when you are feeling frustrated, when you're feeling insecure, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling directionless, pause, think about what you want, pick a direction, and start taking those steps toward it. Get in the car for your actions and drive towards your goals by focusing on the window in front of you. So stay in your lane, and you got this. That is going to be my motto for 2022. It already has been the last couple weeks, and I can tell you right now that my stress level is way down compared to it was even a few weeks ago before this. And you know what? I'm just not trying to overthink it. I'm just going, you know what? This is something that I want. I'm going to make the baby steps to do that. And everything else I've noticed sort of falls in place. Um, so that is my takeaway for this episode. So thank you everyone for taking a moment and listening to today's episode for the Bear Share Show. It means a lot for you to listen, and I hope that you can find some inspiration in today's episode. If you like the Bear Share Show, please like and subscribe to the Bear Share Show on Facebook, YouTube. I'm also available on Spotify, Apple Music, or pretty much anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. And then also, if you have an idea for the Bear Share Show, then please send me an email at thebearshareshow@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to have you on as a guest, and we can talk about some other issues. So thank you so much again for listening. You only have one life. Live it the best you can. Don't let the bullshit bother you. Pick where you want to go and stay in your lane and maintain your own lane. That is my message today. So thank you, everyone. I love you guys for listening, and have a good day. Bye.